everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. I live in southern Kanagawa and I make videos about life in Japan and specifically about life as a student in Japan. I went to a Japanese language school for 2 years, and on this channel I sometimes share my experiences, tips, and advice for anyone who's interested in applying for a language school. Today's topic is something that I get asked quite a lot, especially from people who seem a little bit worried and not sure if they qualify to get into a Japanese language school. I will be answering the question, do you need to know any Japanese before enrolling in your language school? And why do some schools ask you to know specific things before you enroll in the language school? The answer to this isn't too complicated, but I'll try to go through it all in detail just to make it all clear to you. So let's start with this. What does the language schools actually ask of you? To give you some examples, I've visited some different language schools and checked their websites to see what kind of information they had about the subject. Some schools didn't have any information as far as I could see, and some schools specifically stated that you don't need to know anything before enrolling, but let's have a look at what some of the other schools had to say. Yoshida Institute of Japanese Language in Tokyo states that we ask you to learn how to read and write hiragana and katakana before coming to Japan. Abiki College in Tokyo requires Japanese language proficiency of at least JLPT N5 or above. Genki Jax writes that all our students need to know hiragana before starting, and my own language school, Fukuoka Foreign Language College, even asks you for proficiency equivalent to N5 or 150 or more study hours before enrolling. That seems like quite a lot. Do you get worried when you hear this? Like I said, not all schools will ask this of you, but let me tell you a few things about this request. So out of the schools with these pre-enrollment requests, the most common one is to learn hiragana and katakana. So now maybe you're thinking, why are they asking me to study before enrolling in my language school when I'm gonna pay all of this money to go there and actually study in Japan? Well, the reason for this is that they do not want to spend class time teaching you the basics that you could easily self-study. Another reason is that a lot of language schools use textbooks with no English, which means that if you came to Japan and couldn't read hiragana and katakana, it would take days or maybe even weeks before you could even start to get into the textbooks. There are tons of guides and information online on how to learn hiragana and katakana, and you will probably be able to learn it faster by yourself than having to study one letter at a time in the classroom. Sure, it might take a week or two for you to get all of the hiragana and katakana down, but that means that when you arrive in your Japanese language school, you will be able to start to read and write straight away. And I think that the teachers don't want to spend precious class time teaching you hiragana and katakana when they could use that time to progress and teach you more advanced Japanese and get ahead with the class. Even if you're applying to a language school that doesn't specifically ask you to learn hiragana and katakana, I really recommend you to learn it anyways before you come to Japan. It will make it so much easier to start your language school journey and also easier to navigate in Japan when you first arrive. The same thing applies to schools who ask you to study up until N5 before enrolling. Schools with this requirement are likely aiming to get you to pass higher levels of the JLPT exam, and in order to do that in 2 years, you will most likely need a head start. In my year, the majority of the students who passed N1 were people from my class, all students who had prior experience of studying Japanese and started from N3 at the time of enrolling. And out of the beginner students, I think a pretty decent handful of students were not able to pass N2 before the 2 years of the program was over. If you're planning to study or work in Japan after graduating from your language school, you will most likely need at least N2, so this is something that you should keep in mind. And even if you don't care about JLPT and are not planning to take the exam, the fact still stands that this way of preparing before coming will be beneficial for you when you enroll. I've talked about this in some of my other Japanese language school videos, but when you come to school, the first thing you will do is take a placement test. In my case, in my language school, I think we had 4 sections from N5 up to N2, and you would take the test and just fill out as much as you could, and from that they would assess your level and place you in a class according to your level. Oh yeah, we also had an interview, so they did check your speaking skills as well. If the class you're placed in turns out to be too easy or too advanced for you, your homeroom teacher will make sure to place you in the class that's right to your level, but I would say that this placement test is accurate most of the time. Now, if you come to your language school with close to no Japanese skills, obviously you will be placed in the beginner's level, and I just want to state that I'm using the word beginner a lot, but I just want to, say that beginner is the standard level for people who enroll in a Japanese language school, and it's not something bad or less. Just want to state that. Anyways, let's say that you've been studying Japanese for a couple of months or a year and you are already at the N4 level. Then you will be placed in a more advanced class and be able to start from a more advanced level than the beginners. That means that within the 2-year program, you will be able to advance more and get up to a higher level of the JLPT, which was the case for my class. Since we started from N3, we managed to get up all the way to N1 before the program finished, while the beginner level classes only got up to N2 before the program finished. Just a little disclaimer, something I think I should mention is that even if, let's say that your class managed to get up to N2, that does not automatically mean that you will be able to pass the test. You will still need to put in the effort it takes to pass the test and probably do some self-studying, repetition, and just work hard by yourself in order to pass the test. In my school, not all the students who got up to studying the N2 level actually passed the N2 exam, and the same thing with my class and N1. But yeah, I think this should give you an idea of how the system works in the Japanese language schools, and I hope I was able to answer the question of whether you need to study Japanese before enrolling in your Japanese language school. Like I've said, different schools have different requirements, so if you want to know more, you should contact the school, contact Gogo Nihon if it's one of their partner schools, or just check their websites for more information. Please don't ask me for specific details about specific schools. I will most likely not be able to answer. I hope this video was helpful and made you a bit wiser, and I hope that this information will be useful for you in your journey towards Japan. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, video requests, or just want to say hi. Or you can send me a message on Instagram, since I always reply there as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!